What's up, YouTube? So a while ago, I wound up seeing like this video that a person by the name of Charity Croft made about colorism, and something that he said in that video really struck a chord with me. He said that features that we consider sexy, you know, tend to be features that we associate with dark-skinned people, like really full lips, a voluptuous body, for the women, you know, large black penises for the men, right? Um, and just a dark skin tone, right? While on the other hand, features that we consider beautiful, not necessarily sexy, but beautiful, are features that we associate with maybe like features that are more non-black or more white adjacent, like a lighter skin tone, a hair texture that's not so thick, like a looser hair texture, light colored eyes, eyes that look like they have some look like they are have adjacency to non-blackness, more so adjacency to whiteness, and that really struck a chord with me, and it kind of, you know, sparked a light bulb in my head, or like turned on a light bulb in my head, and it got me to really thinking, like, yeah, we really do kind of do that, when it comes to, the men and the women, the brown skin and brown skin, dark skin, and light skinned men, and the brown skin, dark skin, light skin, biracial females, right? We do tend to make those distinctions. I think it's subconsciously, we tend to do that, right? Because I do feel like, dark skinned women, dark and brown skinned women, but especially dark skinned women are like, you know, associated with sex appeal, right? And I think it's, because of like, the skin tone, and also like, having like, not all, but many, many, yeah, have like really a voluptuous, curvy bodies, right? Yeah. And when it comes to light-skinned biracial females, it tends to be more so about kind of like the facial features, the hair texture, um, perhaps the color of the skin, definitely, and the eye color, perhaps, if they have like an exotic eye color. Yeah. And it seems to be that way more or less for the men too, right? The men, who have like really dark, dark skin, or really dark skin tend to be perceived as typically more masculine than the men with lighter skin, right? As well, we tend to associate certain hair textures as being less or more masculine. Some people may not want to admit it, but I actually had a woman who kind of posted something in my comments section recently about 4C hair texture on men. She feels like it looks masculine, which for her, she wants her men to be masculine, so that's a good thing, right? But I posed a question: do you think it's masculine on women? So far, I haven't received a response back from that yet. Um, and as well, I think we associate light eyes with being low-key feminine, although I think sometimes the guys can sort of get away with it. As well, we definitely associate the light skin, with being feminine. And I think when it comes to these associations that we're making, we tend to be associating certain features with being beautiful, while we associate other features with being sexy, right? So I think oftentimes dark-skinned people are viewed as sexy, while light-skinned people are viewed as beautiful. And of course, this is general. Some um, this isn't like a end-all be-all. And there are light-skinned people and dark-skinned people who are both sexy and beautiful. We can all agree to that. But I'm just saying, for this particular video, this is what I'm focusing on. You know, so for the men, they, the men, I think they'll take sex appeal. I think the men probably do want a combination of both, like the beauty and the sex appeal, and they'll take sex appeal. But oftentimes the men want like low-key a trophy. And when you go into somebody's house and you look at a trophy, you don't say, "Oh, what a sexy trophy you have." You're like, "Oh, what a nice looking trophy you have. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful trophy," right? The trophy is beautiful. No. And when it comes to the women and what they want and the men, they tend to, women aren't necessarily seeking beauty. Like, oh, just a beautiful man, right? Because we tend to associate beauty with femininity, right? So more so like sex appeal, right? Especially I think for women who kind of look a certain way, who may not feel themselves as being really beautiful. So, low-key, they may not want their man to look quote-unquote better than them, that does happen, and I know some women probably don't want to admit it, but, the women want to be seen as the beautiful one, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but I'm just putting it out there. And I will say, and I know some people may feel some type of a way about this, but I will say that oftentimes I think the women who deal with light-skinned, mixed, and biracial men tend to be of a certain caliber in terms, or at least tend to view themselves in at least a certain caliber of, women. Especially the brown-skinned and dark-skinned females. So yeah, we kind of see this play out when it comes to what men and women want and look for in each other, right? The women are kind of going more so for the sex appeal, and the men are going more so for the beauty, but they'll take some sex appeal too. As well, some women will take some beauty too, So because of this dynamic at play, it tends to seem like, the brown-skinned, dark-skinned men tend to end up, more so on kind of like the more, I guess, winning side, if you will, the winning team, if you will, while light-skinned dudes, not probably as much, at least in the black community, I'll say. While on the female side, the light-skinned biracial females tend to be on the winning side, more so, But in terms of what people want for their children, the types of features that people want for their children, this also tends to be at play, but in a different way, right? People tend to, usually parents don't really sexualize their children, especially at such a young age, right? So usually their parents aren't looking for features that are considered sexy. Like, people are like, "Oh, I want my children to be sexy." My children are so sexy. No one ever comes up to people like, "Oh, your child is just so sexy." Like, if they did, you would be like, "What the hell? Like, what the fuck? Like, get the fuck away from me, you pedophile," right? But on the other hand, people do come up to people's children and say, "Oh, wow, your children are so beautiful," right? People want their children to be beautiful, right? Especially women. Women definitely want their children to, be beautiful, be considered beautiful, you know? And of course, dads too, but I say especially moms, though, right? I mean, what parent doesn't want to hear something positive about their kids, especially when it comes to looks, right? We're in a society that values looks a lot. Let's be real, we do. Um, you know. So when it comes to children, they kind of want their children to have features that are considered beautiful. You know, Thus, sometimes you'll even hear the phrase, "Oh, you want light-skinned babies with good hair," right? You know, it's sort of like a guilting tactic, right? A shaming tactic, even, right? To call that sort of a mentality out, because people who don't fit that criteria, right? Who don't um, fulfill that criteria feel a certain way about it. Let's be real, they do. A lot of times you hear that comment coming from brown skin, dark skin, black men. You know, in fact, like some people have even said, like, even non-black people respond positively to, like, you know, um, kids and children with, like, the light skin and the curly, loose textured hair and the light eyes, right? I know there was actually a video of this woman. She was a black woman. She was married to a white man, and they lived in Norway. I believe he was Norwegian. And she said, like, sometimes, like, when she's alone and out and about in Norway, sometimes she kind of feels maybe a little shade here and there. But when she's with her biracial child, she's always getting like these compliments, like they're, like, going crazy over her biracial child, though. And, and this is in Norway, a majority white country, by the way, right? You know. So I think for the women are some, some, not all women are on the light skin, good hair, baby bullshit, all right? Because they're not all of them. um, but, some, the thing is, like, some women, they want, that dark skinned man, yes, especially, that dark skinned penis, but they want that light skinned bloodline, though. they, like, they want both of them, right? Because sometimes they want their kids to look a certain way, even if they're with the like a dude who has features that are on the other end of the spectrum. They want that that dark skinned man sex appeal, but sometimes they want that light skinned man bloodline, though. you know, and there have been women who have sort of expose themselves, particularly like light-skinned biracial women, low-key have sort of exposed themselves and how they think when it comes to the men that they're with versus the way that their children look, you know. But I'll say, I'll go on record and I'll say that I think that dark skin and brown skin can be both sexy and beautiful. I'll say that. I really do. As well, I do think that, light skin can be both beautiful and sexy, like dark skin can be both masculine and feminine as well. Light skin can be both feminine and masculine. I just think people just need to open their mind up to it more. I think it just needs to be pushed a bit more in the media. That'll help, right? But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.